Hello, Augies Worldwide. I'm Dave Kassler, amateur radio call sign KE0OG, here with another episode of Ask Dave. Today we're going to look at a question from an Augie who would like to know if there is a piece of software he can use on his radio that would show the screen on the computer bigger than the screen that's on the Icom 7300, which he's having a little trouble seeing. The answer to that question is yes. Let's look at the charts. We're looking for computer control of Icom radios with Win4Icom. That's Win4Icom. Now, the question that was asked by Johan Broomer, VK, that means Australia, 4AHR, says, "Hi Dave, I have been a ham for more than 40 years now and do enjoy your videos. Thank you. I am trying to find a video on the Icom 7300 or the Yaesu FT991A about connecting the radio to a computer so you can see the display better. Can't find one." Well, with the Yaesu, there is possibly a piece of software that you can download from the Yaesu website that will allow you to look on the computer screen at your radio. I know there is one for my Yaesu FTDX 3000. But we're going to look at the Icom today. And we're going to look at a piece of software called Win4Icom Suite for Icom radios. And that happens to include the 7300. This is at the https icom.Victor Alpha 2 Foxtrot Sierra Quebec.com, which I believe is a Canadian call sign. And it shows you just a little bit about what it will do here. It gives you a nice picture of the radio. This is the main screen right here. And you've got a real-time S meter, real-time ALC, just about everything that's hidden behind a menu on the Icom is out here for you to look at directly. Your audio frequency gain, RF gain, squelch, everything like that. It's all separated out for you to take a look at. You've even got your message numbers, either voice or data, that can be touched from here, and so on. Lots and lots and lots of controls. The big advantage that you have here is that everything is out here where you can see it. This is VFOA, VFOB. One of the problems I'll tell you right now that I had with this was, quote, tuning across the band. You can put a specific frequency in here extremely easily, but tuning this back and forth, like just tuning across the band, I found to be well nigh impossible. And yes, I did look at the manual. This is the other screen that it will give you. This is the real-time spectrum scope, which can be expanded to be quite big. And I'll show you an example of what I got for real. So if you go to download and buy, and yes, this is not free software, it's $60 software. But it is, however, you've got a 30-day free trial. This you can download, okay, and download for a 64-bit computer or a 32-bit computer, all right. And then if you want to get exotic and use other machines, you know, control your radio from somewhere else, there are ways to do that too. Now, there are release notes, there's a manual, and so on. You have up to 30 days to go through this. It has a full-featured 30-day trial, meaning it has all the features of the software. It's not just crippleware, so that you can try out all the functionality before purchase. Just download the program. If you decide to buy the software, you can convert your trial license to a full, no time limit license for use on up to 3 personal machines. To purchase, click the Buy Now to the right, which is this thing over here. And you can get it through PayPal too, as well as credit card. This will bring you to PayPal, and upon payment you will receive your license code via email. Now, there is a big giant assumption that is made here when you install this software, and it does not provide instructions for this. So you will need to have already done this. It's assumed that you have already successfully connected your radio, for example, the 7300, to your computer via USB. Okay? If you have been able to use FLDigi or FT8 on WSJTX, you're okay. You're already done. You've got everything that you want. Okay? Now, when you download and install this in the usual fashion, the first thing you get up there, and you will get as long as you're doing the trial, it tells you how many days you have remaining. In my case, 30 days remaining, because I just downloaded it this afternoon. To continue your evaluation, click the Continue Evaluation. In other words, if you want to go to the program without paying for it, just go to the Continue Evaluation. After 30 days, of course, it expires. If you discover that you like it, you can click here to go purchase it, which is a good thing to do. Now, before you run the program, you will need to go to Device Manager. The way you get to this is to go to the Windows button down in the bottom left-hand corner and right-click on it. One of the entries in there will be Device Manager. You want to look for that, and I'll just bring it up here, Device Manager. This is the Device Manager right here. And then right here where it says ports, you're going to open that, okay? And it will show the ports that you're interested in. Now, if installed correctly, the USB cable to the Icom radio to your computer, you will have 2 COM ports. The complicated one is the one you want. You don't want 1, you want 3 here, okay? As a general rule. By the way, that's true with the Asus also. You end up with 2 COM ports with that 1 USB. Now, you'll need that information. COM3 is what we're looking for, because as soon as you open the software for the first time, or you go to the menu and go into Edit and Settings, you will find this screen right here. Note that there are a bunch of tabs when you really get into this piece of software to start getting everything out of it you can get. The first thing you will need to do is choose the radio model. And in this case, IC7300, okay? And then this right here must be done. This is where you put in the COM port. It tells you to go into the radio and set that up for a baud rate of 115/200, okay? And then, and this is very important, you must click on the little button that says connect so that it connects. If you don't do that, you don't have any control, okay? You can forget about server, password, PAN adapter, UDP broadcast, so on and so forth. Click none for PAN adapter, because we're not going to use SDR play connected to a receive-only antenna, because the Icom 7300 does not have a receive-only antenna. And we're not going to use the IQ spectrum scope for the IC7610. We're going to select none. Now, does that mean that there is no spectrum scope? No. We're going to use the one in Win4Icom, okay? So this is what you come up with your opening screen. This happens to be the screen off of my radio. I was tuned to USB in 20 meters. Note that if you want to also pick data or PSK or a RIDI or whatever at the same time that your USB, you can do that too. Because with these choices down here, you have a choice of upper sideband or lower sideband. Most of the digital modes are on upper sideband, except some older RIDI programs use lower sideband. You have to know your software to do that, okay? You've got, at the click of a button here, all your different bands. Some of these don't apply. For example, there's no 4 meters in the US, and clearly the Icom 7300 doesn't do 2 meters, 70 centimeters, or 23 centimeters. Now here you have a choice of antennas. You have one choice. Reminds me of what Henry Ford said, that his customers could get cars in any color they wanted as long as it was black. You can use a preamp. Normally for 20 meters you wouldn't. You can turn the tuner on, you can cause it to tune, you can turn the IP dither on, and so on. With your code, you can choose semi-break-in or break-in, the pitch, the words per minute for the keyer, and so on. This is the tuning screen, which is the one that drives me crazy. You think you could just pull this back and forth across the band, but it starts moving this digit over here, the 1 hertz. If you're trying to tune in a single sideband signal, you want to first tune in by kilohertz, and then by tenths of a kilohertz or 100 hertz. And you'll get most of the way there with that. Because a lot of people, when they talk on the air, they will use, most people will tune to an even kilohertz. They won't be halfway in between or something. This is the other VFO if you're going to switch back and forth between VFOs. Okay, and there's ways to play with memories and so on. Now the fine, medium, and coarse, and it should be C-O-A-R-S-E, not C-O-R-S-E, but it works. Okay, fine, medium, and coarse takes you here, here, or here, and drives me nuts trying to tune in a single sideband signal, because you can click on the spectrum scope and it will get you kind of close, and then you want to be able to just very quickly home in on that signal. And I've got to tell you, I want a tuning knob on this so bad. Okay. So your S unit is pretty much in real time. The power out, you can choose which meter you want. If you choose it on the radio, it will show up here. If you choose it here, it will show up on the radio. You have your receive incremental tuning here, your voice and data messages, all your various controls here. Now note, if you turn up the AF gain here, it will turn it up on the radio. You are controlling the radio from here. Normally RF gain is set all the way up, RF power is set all the way up. Mic gain, I've got about 50%, compression a little bit more. You've got this capability for Moni, which will allow you in your headphones to hear your own voice. So it sounds more like talking on a phone. The Vox gain, Vox delay, and here's where you turn it on. I don't recommend that you use Vox at all, frankly, these days. Okay, and all the other controls that you want here. Now they do offer this keypad where you can put in direct frequency entry, and that's great. But what we don't have is a nudge up 2 kilohertz or nudge down 5 kilohertz or something like that. That I could not find even after looking in the manual. Now here's the waterfall. And yes, this waterfall looked just like what I had on mine. And this is a real nice thing where you can control the reference level. So you can make this darker, so the strong signals will be more reddish and so on. You can do that. You can have it centered fixed, what mode you want in there. You can zoom in and out. You can put edges in there. You can take spots from, if you have a piece of software that gives you spots, you can have those pop up over here too. and so on. And here are your widths down here. All right, and you can just double click on a frequency here, which is like touching on the screen. And that will bring the cursor, which is, as you see right here, it's in the middle of the RTTY. It will show up over here, and it will be up here on this page right here. Now, somehow I missed it, how you home in on that signal. You've got all your memories. This is the one I did in an earlier video when I did stuff to test the reverse beacon network, okay. And this right here is a CW terminal. I did not spend the time with the manual to make it work, but you can actually type in here and it will send. The radio has a built-in RTTY reader and a built-in PSK31 reader. And if you want to just do it with messages, like today there's a RTTY contest going on. If you look right up here, you see these are the RTTY frequencies right up in here, and that's really hopping today. And I tuned into some RTTY signals. Okay, so now one other thing it has, and this is handy if you want to do shortwave listening, it has a shortwave database in here that you can use, and here you get to your various shortwave frequencies. These are the ham bands, well, no, these are the shortwave bands here. Okay, and look up something or see what's on the air and so on, put in all kinds of filters. There is a manual. The manual is 78 pages, okay. It has sort of a table of contents. There is no index to it, but it looks like somebody really put an effort into trying to put a manual together for this. So, some thoughts. Win4Icom certainly allows you to operate your radio from your computer. It's even possible to set things up so that you can operate remotely. It appears that every feature of the radio is available on the screen. So if you're having trouble seeing the little dinky screen on the Icom 7300, this allows you to make it much bigger and you can see it. Now, you can operate the radio either from the computer or the radio. And if you make a change on the computer, it shows up on the radio. If you make a change on the radio, it shows up on the computer. The two are linked together. Okay, personally, I found tuning the radio to be really frustrating. And I'm just talking about, like, you pick a signal on the spectrum display, and then you bring it in to tune very quickly by just, tweaking the knob a little bit. I found it nearly impossible to do, and this thing drove me nuts. And yes, I searched the manual. Okay, of course, you can just reach over and use the radio's tuning knob for that. So if you have your computer right next to the radio, that's not really a problem because you can just use the radio's tuning knob. Like I said, the radio and the computer are tightly linked together. So there you have it. This question was from Johann Brumer, VK4AHR. He just needs something to make it bigger so he can see it and work with it. The one issue that I found with the software was I was a little frustrated with the ability to just, what I want to do is just grab a knob and just bring in single sideband frequency or a CW frequency just like I want to hear it. Other than that, and I'm sure somebody who's expert at this piece of software will put something in the comments, perhaps directing us to a page in the manual or something like that. So I hope you enjoyed that little excursion. By the way, the person who made me aware of this piece of software was none other than Brad Rich, N6GR, and I thank you again, Brad, for that. If you would like to support this channel financially, you certainly can. Go to dcasler.com/support for a variety of ways that you can do so, one time or on a continuing sustaining basis. Either way works just fine, and I appreciate anything and everything that comes this way. If you want, you can become a patron. And also, I would encourage you to subscribe and click like. And until we next meet, 73.